On today's video, we're going to be changing the carburetor on this Predator 212 engine. So I bought this little doodle bug. It's a DB30 with a Predator 212cc engine from Harbor Freight. I can tell it's pretty fast, but it has one problem. It won't idle, and at full throttle it kind of cuts out a bit. I have to stay on the throttle a little bit just to keep it running. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace the carburetor. I've actually cleaned the carburetor in it several times and it just didn't seem to help. So we're just going to end up replacing it. It was a cheap part. So I'm going to show you what it does, and then we'll get into replacing it and see if it helps. Alright, so I'm just going to start it up for you and kind of show you some of the symptoms that it's having. Choke's all the way on right now. There. The idle screw is all the way in, pretty much. That's why it started to move, but when I put the choke all the way off, it turns off every time. So let's try again. That's choke it halfway. So at halfway the choke, it turns off. So I've messed with the idler screw a lot, and I've put it in a whole bunch of different positions, and it doesn't change anything. No matter what, once the choke is more than halfway, it'll turn off. So we're going to go ahead and get into replacing the carburetor and hope that helps. Okay, here we are on the Predator 212cc engine from Harbor Freight. We're going to start by removing this box right here. It's very easy. This whole process is actually pretty easy. You need a 10mm ratchet for these two right here. You also need pliers for this one, and there's this one right here, which will probably just pull off when you pull the box off, and then you can pretty much use your fingers for the rest. So let's jump right in. So like I said before, we're going to use our pliers right here. Just going to move that clamp down, and I'm just going to pull this right off like that. Make sure you set your fuel and your choke right in kind of in the middle. That helps later when we're pulling it off. And we're going to loosen these two right here. We're just going to pull them completely off. Okay, so we got the two 10mm nuts off, and we're just going to pull this air box off like so. And it just comes right off. See, you have a hose right there that connects right there. Mine just came off pretty easily. Didn't even really need to pull that much, so we're just going to set that down to the side. Here's your carburetor right here. We're just going to pick that up, pull it off. There's a gasket right here. We're going to set this down somewhere. Okay. A couple more things. You have a spring here, and that little, I guess that's also part of a spring. And then you got a fuel line, and those are the only things left holding it on. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get our pliers, move that up. I have a old screw ready, so when you pull this line off, gas is going to start coming out. If you have gas in your tank right here, gas will start pouring out of here. So I'm going to pull this off, that line off, and I'm going to pop in the bolt right into the line to keep it from spilling out any more gas. Okay, there we go. I just pinched the line with my pliers, and I just kind of jammed that bolt in there, and now I can let go of it, and now it won't be dripping any gas out. So Now we can just kind of pull this out just a bit, and we can disconnect our spring right here, and then pull that out, and voila, your carburetor is free. So with the carburetor that I bought, it comes with all new gaskets, so we can take these old gaskets off. Even though they're in pretty good shape, I'll probably just save them in a bin somewhere. And it also comes with this piece too. So we're going to lift up the fuel line, and there's a gasket on the back side here. I don't know if you can see it. So, oh, here's a gasket. This one's in bad shape, so we're just going to remove it because we got a new one. All right, and we're just gonna clean all that up with the razor blade and some brake clean, and get it all nice and smooth, and then we'll start putting on the new one. Okay, so here's our old carburetor and here's our new one. The only difference that I see is this piece right here. Everything else is the same. This is a different color. This part right here. So this one was gray, but same piece, just different color. Everything else is the same. So we're gonna go ahead and put this in. We'll put the idle screw, which is right here, right in the middle, and see how that works. And then we'll tune it from there. All right, so here's our new gaskets right here. So we'll take this one, we'll go ahead and stick it on there. Okay, next, our little black piece right here. That'll go on. Okay. All right, next we have another gasket. Okay, here we go. These are like made out of paper, it feels like. You kind of have to be careful with them so you don't tear them. All right, next thing, we'll slide on our carburetor. Okay, before we slide it all the way on, we're going to hook up this rod right here. I think this is for the governor, if I'm not mistaken. So if you don't have a governor, I think this is deleted. So yeah, I'm going to slide that in a bit. I'm going to hook up our spring now. Okay, so that's connected now. We are going to move this out of the way still. Put this on. We're going to kind of move this in the middle there. And so we're going to take our screw out and reconnect our fuel line, and then put the air box back on. All right, fuel line is reconnected. Final gasket. Push this on a bit. All right, and now we can put our air box back on. So basically you just slide them on the little rods right there, and reconnect this hose to your gas tank, and then this hose goes to the valve cover there, and that's pretty much it. All right, we are all back together. We got our hose connected here. These are now tight. This hose is now connected again. We're all set and ready to try out the new carburetor. Okay, so we are going to try to start it up, and I got the choke halfway, and fuel is on. So now we're going to give it a pull. We're going to choke all the way off. Idles. So the new carburetor, it works. All right, I'm going to take it for a rip. All right, there you go, guys. If you are having idling issues or fuel cutout issues with your Predator 212, or maybe even any go-kart engine for that matter, and you tried cleaning the carburetor and it still had the same issue, go ahead and replace it. The part was $12 on Amazon. Cheap investment. The thing works awesome now. So thanks for watching. And stay tuned to the channel because I have another project here. This thing is in a million pieces. Nothing is really tied down here. It doesn't run. The engine turns, but it doesn't run. I've ordered a bunch of parts for it, so this is going to be the next video, or a couple of videos probably, getting this thing running. So stay tuned for that.